This video classroom lesson is sponsored by Transmission Bench. Visit the transmissionbench.com store for the deluxe super kit, other parts, and even the video classroom lessons used during this project.
This lesson is kind of short, so I'll limit the intro length too. Welcome back to class. This is Ford E4OD 4R100 class, lesson 7. In the last lesson, we took apart the pump, coast clutch overrun drum, and the overdrive planetary gear assembly in order to inspect internal parts for damage. In this lesson, we'll continue subassembly inspection by disassembling the forward and direct clutch drums. Let's get back to work. Get the forward clutch drum and take it to the other work area. During disassembly, we left this forward clutch drum to center support thrust bearing here. Lift it up and off of its slightly raised seat on the drum. Note how the narrow race with an inner lip goes downward onto this seat. Place it into your palm and check it for any signs of damage. It should not chatter or feel gritty, which would indicate pitting of the races. If you need another thrust bearing, it is item number 66211. The grooves for the sealing rings need to be checked. In order to inspect the shoulders of the grooves, remove the sealing rings to get a closer look. Carefully pinch one of them in with your left thumb as you push in on it with your right hand thumb. The ring ends will unhook. Again, do this very carefully to avoid cutting your fingers because the rings can be very sharp. If your fingers are tender, wear gloves as you do this. Also keep in mind the rings are made from iron, are very brittle, and can break easily. Spread the ends only enough to get the ring out of its groove. Inspect the groove shoulders to make sure they have not made contact with the inner sealing ring bore of the center support. Do this with both ring grooves. The grooves on your drum should appear as these do. We will replace these sealing rings with new ones later, but for now, reinstall the old ones. Turn the drum over. This drum is called the forward drum because it houses the forward clutch pack. When the selector lever of the vehicle is placed into D, or drive, this multi-disc pack is compressed together by hydraulic pressure, which results in the vehicle's initial forward engagement. Use a small screwdriver to remove this snap ring. Lift out a thick end plate. It is identical on both sides and can be installed either way. Set it onto the ring. Lift out the first friction plate. Notice the V shape of the teeth. Only friction plates for the forward clutch have this unique characteristic. This will make it easy to identify the new ones during reassembly later. Turn it over and set it onto the end plate. Lift out a thin steel plate. Turn it over and set it onto the friction plate. Remove the remaining friction and steel plates. There are a total of 4 friction and 4 steel plates in the forward clutch drum of our demo transmission, which was paired to a gasoline engine. Diesel engine models may have 5 frictions and 5 steel plates. Lift out a thin wavy cushion plate. Turn it over and set it onto the last steel plate. Finally, lift out a thick apply plate. Note how it is tapered on the side, which makes contact with the part below it called the Belleville return spring. Turn it over and place it onto the wavy plate as removed. Use a medium-sized screwdriver to work this snap ring out. Set it aside. Lift out the Belleville piston return spring. If this part is cracked or broken into several pieces, it should be replaced. It is item number 36974B. Set it aside. Use a small screwdriver to lift out the steel apply ring. This split is normal. Twist and turn the forward clutch piston as you pull it out. Note the lip seal here. And an O-ring in a groove in the drum. Both of these seals will be replaced later during the final reassembly. For now, reassemble the forward clutch drum and make notes of any damaged parts. The Belleville spring is always installed with the fingers pointing downward onto the steel ring. Replace the thrust bearing onto the drum with the narrow-lipped race against the drum. Take the forward clutch drum back to the parts bench. Get the direct clutch drum assembly. Remember to support the Sprag clutch underneath it with your left hand, preventing it from falling off the drum. Begin disassembly by setting this 4-tab metal thrust washer to the side. This part is almost always in reusable condition, but if you need a new one, it is item number 36229A. Again, support the assembly from underneath and turn the drum over. This is the intermediate Sprag clutch assembly. It works along with the intermediate clutch pack to give the vehicle second gear. Notice how I can turn it freely in the counterclockwise direction. It will lock and not turn if I try to turn it clockwise. Lift the outer race off of the drum. Note the wide, flat side of the race goes against this large diameter thrust washer. The inner surface which contacts the Sprag elements should be smooth with no evidence of damage such as pitting, scoring, or gouging. This outer race is in excellent condition. I can see slight witness marks from rubbing, but it feels absolutely smooth to the touch. Turn it over and set it aside. If you need a new one, it is item number 36663. Lift off the 3-tab thrust washer. There are 2 types you may encounter, plastic or metal. If you need a new one, here are the item numbers. Lift the Sprag element assembly off of the drum. It consists of 3 parts. There are 2 end caps and the caged elements. This is a high precision part that does wear out. I recommend it should always be replaced. In fact, this is so important, it is always included in the deluxe super kits. If you need it separately, it is item number 36652. Inspect the inner race, which is pressed onto the drum. It must be absolutely smooth and free of imperfections. It should appear like this one. Check the inner bore where the sealing rings make contact. This bore should be straight, smooth, and free of any gouging from sealing rings. Turn the drum over. This assembly gets its name, direct clutch drum, from the fact that when the clutch pack is compressed together, the transmission is in direct drive. In other words, the input shaft is turning at the same speed as the output shaft, and you are in third gear. This clutch pack is also used in reverse along with the reverse band. Use a small screwdriver to remove this snap ring. Set it aside. Lift out a thick end plate. Note this plate is exactly the same as the end plate used in the forward clutch drum. If you need a replacement, it is item number 36146. Lift out a friction plate. Note the square-shaped teeth which distinguish it from the V-shaped teeth of the forward clutch friction plate. Turn it over and set it onto the end plate. Work out a steel plate. Turn it over and set it down. Remove the remaining friction and steel plates. Our demo transmission has a total of 4 friction and 4 steel plates in the direct clutch drum. Diesel versions of the transmission may have 5 friction and 5 steel plates. There are no wavy cushion plates used in the direct clutch drum. Further disassembly of the drum using a foot press or other spring compressor will be required later in order to replace lip seals for the piston, but for now, no additional inspection is necessary. Reassemble the drum in the reverse order it was taken apart. Replace the friction and steel plates, thick end plate, and the snap ring. Set the 3-tab thrust washer into place. Set the Sprag element assembly onto the drum. Reinstall the outer race with the wide flat side facing downward towards the thrust washer. Roll it into place. Installed correctly, the outer race will rotate freely in the counterclockwise direction. If you incorrectly install the element assembly upside down, it will rotate freely in the clockwise direction. Once again, make sure the outer race rotates freely in the counterclockwise direction as you see it doing here. Turn the drum over. Replace the 4-tab metal thrust washer and return the direct clutch drum to the parts bench. We'll pause here and take a break. In the next lesson, we'll take one last thorough look at all the parts and discuss how to clean them.